If I told you this heavy-duty 8-foot mobile workbench costs less than $200 to build, would you believe me? And here's the best part. You don't need a workshop full of expensive tools to build one. If you've got a drill or impact driver, a saw, a framing square, a countersink bit, and a few clamps, you've already got just about everything you need. So today I'm going to show you exactly how you can build one too, while sharing a few tips that will save you both time and money. And stick around until the end because I'll show you one simple design feature that makes this workbench even more versatile than many of the store-bought versions, as well as other DIY workbenches out there. For this project, I wanted to keep things affordable without sacrificing strength. The entire frame is built using standard 2x4s, while the top and lower shelf are made from one sheet of 3/4-inch plywood. To make transporting everything easier, I had Home Depot cut the plywood down to 28 inches by 8 feet long, right in the store. The remaining piece measured just under 20 inches wide, and it ended up being the perfect size for the lower shelf. Before buying everything, I compared prices between Home Depot and Lowe's. And you might want to do the same. It just depends on your area. Prices can fluctuate and be different among the stores. At the time I purchased materials, Home Depot came out cheaper overall, including both plywood and the 2x4s. I bought my materials a few months ago, so prices have gone up a little bit since then. My total came around $115 without the caster wheels, or about $175 with the locking casters. At today's prices, you're looking at approximately $126 without casters, or about $195 with upgraded wheels. I'll put a complete materials list down in the description below, as well as a list of tools that I used. For tools, I kept things as simple as possible to make it an easy DIY project for beginners and anyone else who have limited tool supplies. So I used a drill, an impact driver, so you could have one or the other or both. I used a miter saw, but you can use a circular saw with a framing square. I used a total of 4 clamps, and if you don't have clamps, maybe you just might need an extra hand to help you, but I did build this solo, so I did use clamps to help assist the build. And I obviously need a tape measure and a pencil. If you already own these basic tools, you're ready to build. So cutting the lumber, I like to cut every board before assembling anything. It keeps the project moving. It makes the assembly process much smoother. I started by cutting the long frame rails. Next, I cut the legs. And finally, all the cross members. A quick tip, after cutting each piece, I like to group similar pieces together so I'm not searching for parts during assembly. And one tip is don't throw away the scraps. One thing I always try to do to get as much value as possible from every piece of lumber. So instead of throwing away the cutoff pieces from the long rails, I use them as a mounting blocks for the caster wheels, as well as to set the height of the lower shelf itself. That saved buying additional lumber and gave the casters a nice solid mounting surface. Next, I assembled both frames. The upper frame and the lower shelf frame are built exactly the same size. I wanted to keep it simple. They measure roughly 20 inches by 90 inches. As I assembled each frame, I checked the corners with a framing square to keep everything nice and square. A few extra seconds here can save a lot of frustration later. With the lower frame complete, I attached a plywood shelf. I always recommend pre-drilling the holes and using a countersink bit before driving the screws. It'll help prevent splitting the wood and gives a finished project a much cleaner appearance. I decided to upgrade this workbench with heavy-duty dual locking casters. Each caster is rated to hold 250 pounds, giving the bench an impressive total 1,000-pound capacity. I also like that these lock both the wheel and the swivel, so once they're locked, the workbench stays put while working. The caster mounting blocks also became a built-in guide for positioning the lower shelf at the exact same height on every leg. Sometimes the simplest ideas make assembly much easier. Once the shelf was complete, I attached all 4 legs. At this point, the project really starts taking shape. The lower shelf also helps stiffen the entire structure while keeping everything aligned. Next came attaching the upper frame. I double-checked everything for square before tightening all the screws. Doing that now prevents problems once the top is installed. Now it's time for the workbench top. I intentionally made the frame smaller than the plywood. That leaves several inches of overhang around the outside. And that was done for a reason. It gives me more room to clamp projects anywhere around the workbench without the frame getting in the way. It seems like a small detail, but it's one of my favorite features of this build. And you'll have seen many other builds here on YouTube. That's exactly what they do. They have the frame right up to the edge of the plywood. So there it is, a heavy-duty 8-foot mobile workbench that looks great, rolls wherever I need it, has a built-in storage shelf, and costs far less than many store-bought options. My favorite feature is actually the plywood overhang. It makes clamping projects incredibly easy and adds a lot more versatility than originally expected. I also like that this project can grow with you. You can make modifications to it at any time, as well as doing other upgrades to it throughout the time to make your projects go a lot smoother and easier. You could add drawers, pegboard, power strips, or even a vise later on if you wanted to customize it. If you've been putting off building a workbench because you thought it would cost too much or require a shop full of expensive tools, hopefully this video showed that neither one has to be true. So as you can see, not much is needed as far as tools go to make a simple DIY workbench mobile workstation. It's an easy DIY project. I encourage anyone to do it. All you need is these simple tools and have access to a miter saw like I do, as well as a framing nailer. It just makes the job go faster, quicker, because it would end up being more accurate too, versus using the circular saw and the square to make the square cuts on the 2x4s. You're certainly welcome to do that. It just adds more time to the project, which just took me about, I want to say about 3 hours, 3 to 4 hours. I did build it over a series of couple days just because of the amount of time that I had to work on it, as well as setting up the camera and everything else involved. So I estimated it took me about 3 to 4 hours, right around that range. And hopefully this video helps you make it go even quicker, since I laid everything out in this video on how to do everything. And since I kind of showed the build process and the steps I did to assemble this bench, so I have everything laid out here, and I want to explain a few things about the fasteners. So I obviously had access to a framing nailer, which I know everyone's not going to have access to. That is what I use to assemble the frames of both the bench top and the shelf. Obviously, not many people have a framing nailer, and one of the screws you could use, which I have here, is the 2.5-inch screws, which actually I would recommend going with 3-inch ones to assemble the frame part. And you can also use the 3-inch screws to screw the lower shelf to the leg itself. And obviously the lower part here where I had the caster screwed into it, you can use the 3-inch screws going this way to mount that lower block that this shelf is sitting on. So you could get by with the 3-inch screws, so definitely worth the upgrade from the 2.5-inch. I will have the link down in the description below to the 3-inch ones. 2.5-inch will still work. It's just you're gonna have 1/2 inch less of screw going into the material. Then I use the 1 5/8 screws to secure both the workbench top as well as the shelf to the frame itself. I chose to go with deckmate type of screws because they will be anti-corrosion, so they are made to be outside. If you use regular like structural construction screws over time, depending on the humidity level in your garage or workspace, then you have a chance of it creating rust over time. That's why I choose to use deck rated screws. And the same thing goes for the structural screws. I will have a link in the description for GRK brand. These grip rights are also good because they are also rated for outdoor use. Whereas the regular Spax type of structural screw, which is another option, it'd be a little bit cheaper, but they're not going to be exterior rated like these grip right ones, as well as the GRK brand screws that I will have in the description. These I only use to attach the workbench top to the legs itself. Now, one of the things you could do is, if you have extra 2x4s, is you could add 2x4s to this section right here going up. That'll help support the top even more. And then therefore, you might not even need to use the structural screws. It's about what the weight it can handle. If you're using regular 3-inch deck screws to attach the legs, then I would definitely recommend adding the support just under this 2x4 going down to the shelf, which would be the same type of concept as I used for the caster wheel. And also you can see the benefit of using a countersink bit to drive the screws in, to pre-drill and to put the screws in, because it goes a little bit lower than the plywood itself, so it's not protruding, not causing splits in the wood. I highly recommend taking that step and pre-drilling the holes for the screws. And here is a closer look at the countersink bit. They have many different varieties of these. This one's actually kind of big for normal use. You could get by with a smaller drill bit itself. This just happens to be the smallest one that I had access to currently. But this is the part right here that does the countersink part for the screw hole, as seen right here. And I wanted to do a special added touch doing the laser engraving of the channel logo on the corner of the workbench. It reminds me that I custom built this bench and kept it under a reasonable budget for a workbench of this size. Because certainly you can spend a lot more money and time even in building a more robust workbench. And I think this one is just as capable as some of the heavier duty workbenches. Plus I wanted to keep it mobile, so I'm able to move it outside if I want to work on a project. I have a workstation to work off of. So the caster wheels for me is a major plus because I wanted it to be mobile. So I did add a total of the 3 cross members. My original design I actually had more, but I think this is sufficient enough. And I did space these apart every 20 inches, just so you know, in case you're making the same exact workbench, then you can just space them 20 inches apart. And this is how they come out. And one other tool I would recommend having, if you don't have one already, is this Craig multi-mark tool. So if you have repetitive markings you need to make, you can adjust the ruler here to the depth of where you're going to be placing your screws, like so. And just lock that knob in place, and that way you can just go around easily, mark exactly where you need to mark the holes for the screws. So it does save a lot of time. Definitely worth adding this to your tool arsenal to help these kinds of projects go a lot quicker. Here's the complete build plan if you're interested in building this mobile workbench. Feel free to pause the video here and take a screenshot or a picture of the screen. I'll also include the complete cut list and materials list in the description below. If you enjoyed this project, I'd really appreciate you give this video a thumbs up. It helps YouTube share it with more people looking for budget-friendly DIY projects. And if you're new here, consider subscribing. We're always looking for ways to build smarter, save money, and get the most value of every project. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Crasher out.